Nicolas, it's up for grabs now!
Magic ball from Bergkamp to Patrick Vieira!
Oh, would you believe it? Oh, right, what a way to get it!
Fabulous solo goal by Thierry Henry.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Arsenal Lounge. Another fantastic Monday evening podcast with the usual crew, minus Lev. I think he will join us soon, hopefully.
Doing his hair. That's what he's doing. He's doing his hair.
Yeah, hopefully. There he is.
There he is.
I'm having to use my phone. My camera's messed up, so sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's all right. How's everything? You all right, Lev?
Yeah, I'm good. We're live,
What's
yeah?
happening?
We are indeed.
What does that change the answer?
No, not really. I'm really good, guys. Thank you for having me anyway. Sorry I'm late, but I'm here. That's the main thing.
Very good. Mo, how are you?
Yep, all good, man. Just still happy. Another good weekend of football. And it's my son's first birthday tomorrow. So
Happy birthday to him.
That's amazing.
Nice.
exciting times in my house.
Very good, very good. Tom, how are you doing? You good?
Yeah, it's my first birthday tomorrow as well. So, no,
What sort of birthday is it?
Oh no, I'm joking. It's just a ridiculous
This
age
convo
difference
could go
between myself
anywhere,
and you
be
guys.
careful.
Oh, listen, the way we started the last podcast, it really could go anywhere at this stage. We have a habit
I
of starting
know.
these off in different.
Do you know what? A lot has happened since last Monday. You know, quite a lot, whether it's football related or not football related. So I think I can speak for all four of us when I say, just to start with, our thoughts and prayers go to everybody in Ukraine and everybody that has been affected by what's been happening over there. Whatever your views are on these things, it's normally ordinary people that suffer and lose their houses and their livelihoods and their jobs and their businesses. So all our thoughts and prayers to them, and obviously happy birthday to Mr. Haider Jr. Everybody in the comment I see they putting out a happy birthday message to him as well. So give him our love from the Arsenal Lounge.
Appreciate that, and everyone else. He's shouting in the background, so I think he might have heard that. So
All right.
We'll send him the Arsenal Lounge bib very soon.
yes.
Yeah. Let's start with the Wolves game. Right? Lev, what was your thoughts on the game?
Mate, it was, as you mentioned earlier, it's a bit of a distant memory now, but still, when the first 10 minutes, when Gabriel did what he did, I thought, here we go again. This is it. This is us shooting ourselves in the foot. It's typical Arsenal. I was fuming. It was so unnecessary. Done all the difficult work and then gave the ball away. And we know what happened after that. So, you know what? I was convinced it was going to be one of those games that we tried, we huffed and puffed, and the concern of having Lacazette up top, who really toiled and really worked hard, as he always does, but still lacking that final sort of cutting edge. I was concerned. But what really, I think, resonated with us as fans generally is this the first time in a long while that we needed something and we pulled it out of the bag. And it was crucial to get that win. I mean, if you look at Man United dropping points again yesterday, we're in a very strong position now. We've got teams around us that are sort of 1 point, 2 points ahead, and we've got 3 games over them in hand. So it was a great night for the fans. It was a great night for all of us. It showed a lot of courage. Again, I was impressed with Odegaard. Again, I was impressed with, our spirit that we showed and how much we fought for each other. Listen, I was really happy. Not going to lie. I was just, it was for the first time in a long time. We've not seen Arsenal do those sort of things, and we're starting to do them. So, very pleased.
Mo, what about you?
Listen, man, it was all about the result and the manner of the result. After a game like that, I think it's much more important what that does to a team mentally. So I'm not actually as interested in the sort of individual moments in the game and analysing those, because I don't think the story of the game is about that anymore. It's not about refs. It's not about this or that or this pass or anything like that. It's really about what it does to your belief as a club, as a fan base, as a set of players. So other games, had we won that 2-1 and we got the first goal, then they equalised, and then we got a 60th minute winner, I wouldn't be saying this. But, a couple of years ago, I looked at how many last-minute winners or injury time winners Arsenal had in Premier League history. And it tracked at about one a season. So what I always say to people is that this is as big of a deal as Christmas, as far as I'm concerned. It happens once a year. So, the reason I highlight that is that, you have to really, really enjoy it. You don't get this much in football. You get it once a season on average. And it's there's nothing like it in the stadium. If you're in the stadium, it's mad. But even at home, the celebrations are that much more intense and everything. So I think that's from
it reminded me of that Leicester game. You remember when nobody came on?
I don't like that. I don't want any more likeness to Leicester.
That was also a very important game that we won last minute. Do you know what I mean?
That's but it proved not to be important because we didn't do anything with it.
Exactly, it was. So people can talk about the Leicester game, and for me, that's a sad story. I wish we never scored that goal. Maybe it panned out differently then. Do you know what I mean? We crumbled after that. So that's not a happy memory for me, which is why I hate talking about it. But anyway, what I'm saying is that from a fan's point of view, enjoy it because it was one of the few injury time winners we're going to get this season, maybe the only one. And then the other thing I'd say is that for a team, I think what that can start doing, it can start making you feel like destiny is on your side. It can start making you just have that belief that, we're going to do this. And that doesn't creep into your sort of like thinking in your bloodstream almost if it's an easy victory. Sometimes you need those tough victories. You look at Man City against Everton. Liverpool have just closed the gap. They're on a bit of choppy form. They get an unbelievably bad decision in their favour and a really lucky goal with a couple of deflections, and it becomes a tap-in from a yard out for Foden. And you're going to think to yourself like, this has got to be our year. Things are working. So much like that, I really hope that this has injected the team with, if they didn't have that belief that this is their destiny to finish fourth this year and make this that stepping stone season, perhaps a year earlier or 2 years earlier than maybe they thought. I really hope this was the game that did that. And I'm excited for the rest of the season. I hope the players are.
Yeah. Tom, what about you?
Yeah, to be honest, I loved that as a kind of a big middle finger to the officials as well. I mean, they tried to rob us at the beginning of the game in the first minute with that ridiculous decision on Martinelli that wasn't given. I still sit here. I just remember being seething through the whole first half. Like, obviously, the mistake from Gabriel made things worse. But just knowing that that was an absolute nailed-on penalty that we weren't given in the first minute after all the talk about officials. It was just another example. But yeah, the absolute relief at the end of the game to get the win. Like, to be honest, when we equalised, I was turning to my other half and saying I would have absolutely snapped your arm off for an equaliser at half time, to be honest, at this stage. Yeah. And I would have probably just taken the draw. But getting a victory, that kind of level of momentum and the jolt that it gives us for the rest of the season. And I mean, it's the first time we've done a double over Wolves in 9 years. That kind of tells you how hard it is sometimes to get a result against some of these other teams consistently. And I mean, this is a team that have taken points off massive sides this season and are always a threat. And there's no argument that goes, it's a Leeds or it's a Norwich. No, Wolves are a very good Premier League side this season, and we've done the double over them, sandwiched in between another important win against Brentford as well. I'm looking forward to what happens next with Watford. Obviously, seeing Manchester United drop points once again, and that was their easy game as well this weekend because they've got a really tough fixture list coming up next month. And, we've got some really nice, I say nice, there's no nice fixtures, but, you look ahead and you can be confident about the teams we're playing.
Yeah, do you know what? For me, it's one of those games that you have to look on it and say, you know what? You have to give credit when it's due. I mean, everybody deserved credit on that game. Xhaka and Partey, they were really good. And as Mo said earlier on, Wolves were not a relegation fighting team. They're a team that thereabouts where we are, and they're fighting for the same objective as we are European football. The substitution was good. For those of you who always come at me saying, are you Arteta this and that, I'm giving him credit now for the substitutions. Pepe came on, looked good, scored a good goal. Lacazette was good. Everybody was good. There was, mistakes happen in every game for every team and for everybody, and it was a mistake. Luckily, we managed to come back from it and win the game and move on. For me, the key now is consistency, and we need to be able to keep this going. We need to be able to keep up this level of performance, because we've got, Wolves is one thing. We've got Man City coming up. We've got, not Man City, Man United coming up. We've got Chelsea, Liverpool, Tottenham. These are tough games that we need to be able to be performing at the highest level. So it was a really good win for me. I know you don't like saying this, Mo, but it reminded me of that Leicester game where we went 1-0 down. It was an important game that we needed to win. We were fighting obviously for a different objective at the time, and we won with Welbeck coming on and scoring last minute winner. So overall, it was very good performance. We all agree, and hopefully we can keep it up going forward. Speaking of the Wolves game, what was the predictions on that, Mo?
No, I'm just working on them right now.
He's guessed it right again.
If you don't mind, can you just remind us, Mo, of the predictions and where everybody, how many points we've got and everything?
Mo should deduct one for you because he told you not to mention that Leicester game, and you've done it again.
Any excuse, Lev.
You know what?
Mo, can we have the results, please?
Yeah, it's mad. Shaheen somehow has predicted 2 out of 2. So he's got 6 points out of a possible 6. But Tom and I know that really the 2-0 against Brentford that we predicted was a truer reflection of that game. And very, very lucky.
This is not an Arsenal-Brentford podcast, Mo. It's Arsenal Wolves and Arsenal Watford.
There's still a lot of more games to go.
So what? So I'm on 6 points now.
So yeah,
you're on 3 points. You're on what? 4 points.
4. And Shaheen and Lev and Tom are on 2 each.
On 2, 11-2, yeah?
Yeah,
right.
I'm on 2, Shaheen.
So whoever wins get to decide the forfeit for the person.
No, that's not what's happening.
Decide something for the last 2, is it, Mo?
Pardon?
The first 2, so number 1 and number 2 will decide the forfeit for the 3rd and 4th.
Listen, the problem is, now there's a vested interest because Lev's obviously and Tom are going to be thinking, you've got a 4-point lead and you're going to want a bad forfeit or whatever. We should have actually nailed this down at the start.
That's what I said.
I think we now have to just leave it. What we need to do,
there's still plenty of games left, Mo.
Yeah, but we need to leave it to the audience. We need to leave it to the audience to come up with what we do here.
What the fuck?
What?
What am I missing here?
Yeah, something silly on the chat. I was just.
Listen, let's talk about it, man. What
on earth?
Yeah.
Don't block the guy. I'm not sensitive like that. Just what?
No, it wasn't to do with you. It was just.
And also,
anyway, it was. I think over 25 stuff. Anyway, so we'll sort something out in terms of.
Yeah,
can you let us know in the chat? And if you're watching this.
Listen, I need to know what he's talking about.
It's just spam, mate. It's just a spam account. That's what they do.
Yeah, it is. But anyway, let us know in the chat what we should do. Or if you're watching afterwards, let us know in the comments that how we should play this. My idea is that the first 2 will have a forfeit for the last 2. And anything
you would
can
say
change.
that now. You're so.
Well, anything can change. I can get things wrong for the rest of the seasons, and you could get everything right for the rest of the season.
I predict it will go astray for you. So go for it. Pick what you want. Shaheen.
Yeah, all right. We'll do. So anyway, I'm just being distracted with this.
Don't be distracted. Just keep going.
Yeah. Anyway, what was I saying? Let's talk about. Oh, Mo, this is what I want to talk to you about.
Oh, I remember.
The financial results are out for Arsenal, right? And I know you're a finance man, and we can discuss this with you. What's your thoughts, and how do you read the results?
I haven't had the time to have a look at them. I've been out all day. So,
I think season 2021 they had 170 million losses.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, it's obviously a one-off season where you can't look at any of the movements. So in like the finance world, you always put the prior year equivalent figure, the comparative figure, to see how the business has moved along. This year, that's pointless, right? It's COVID year. So everything looks really, really bad. All the variances, the percentages, the numbers are going to look absolutely awful. But I think what we're going to have to do is to get a proper reflection of how Arsenal have fared, is to look at Arsenal in a normal year and the percentage drop-off versus the same percentage drop-off of our rivals to see whether we've had a worse year than others comparatively. So it's going to be a horrible set of financial statements, but I only managed to read a very quick summary on the Arsenal website, and I need to sit down and take a proper look. But one thing that actually interested me was that they mentioned that KSE, obviously the owning company, had contributed significant funds.
Keep going, he'll be back. Keep going.
They had contributed significant funds and taken some of the debts. And not that they would have paid those debts off, but it seems like perhaps it's like, if I owe Tom money, you say to me...
we need to talk about that, by the way.
It's like you saying to me, the money you owe Tom, I'll pay that off, but you owe me now. So the debt still remains, but I wonder if there's potentially some benefit to the club there in terms of favourable interest rates or whatever. I'm not really sure. It's something I want to look out for, because there's one thing that we all complain about in terms of the Cronkies don't give the club any money. But you know what? Let's be objective and say perhaps they have done us a favour or have done something to benefit us in terms of restructuring that debt or repositioning that debt. So that's one thing that interests me quite a lot in the financial results I want to take a look at.
Okay. Let me just read out super chat from Wayne, one of our regulars, as always. Thank you very much, Wayne, for your support as always. Big up the lounge. Lev, what kind of tea are you drinking? It's
Massive
amazing
question.
to me that some fans are missing the positive results, but one negative, and they always have.
I know. You drink mint tea and not enough people make enough of it. But this is what it is. It's mint tea, fresh leaf. Yeah?
All right.
It's good for you.
Okay.
Be more positive about it.
So I was reading some stuff on Twitter earlier today, Mo, and Cronkies, they've lost a legal case with I think is a council of a town that they moved the Rams from, right? So they St. Louis, and they now possibly having to pay them some sort of compensation or such, and then the financial results are out, and then on the same day they've increased their ticket prices. Do you think they're related to each other, or this would have been planned?
No, I don't think it's related. The only problem is now that we don't really get that absolute clarity in terms of whether they've taken any money out, because they're a private company now, essentially. Yeah, their results will go on Companies House and we can all go and look at that, but they will naturally now provide as little information as possible, whilst previously they had some reporting requirements where it gave us a bit more transparency. So as an example, in the past, Stan Kroenke took out £3 million a year in terms of advisory and consultancy fees. There was no itemization of that. We couldn't really get a real view of what he was doing and how the hell he was earning that in a justified manner. What that seemed to be was he didn't want to take that out as dividends, because if he took that out as dividends, he'd also have to pay dividends to Alisher Usmanov, because they own the same type of shares and these dividends are paid based on shares. So he was sort of taking advantage of being in the day-to-day management of the club, whilst Usmanov was frozen out of that and couldn't therefore take advisory and consultancy fees. That sort of thing now, I'm not sure we'll get that visibility because of the lack of transparency that will exist in the way they report their financials. So it could be related. They could be doing something like that. But I personally don't suspect that. As bad as they are as owners, I don't think that they will be siphoning money out of Arsenal to do this. It would be a scandal. It would be an absolute.
Would you be surprised if they did?
Yeah, I would be. Because listen, trust me, if I was working in the club and I was in the finance department and I thought this was going on, I'd be whistleblowing. That's why they'll never flip and hire me in Arsenal in the finance department. But I think it's very risky. Yeah, I don't think that you can keep that sort of thing a secret as such,
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you're a season ticket holder. You go to every home game and most away games, as far as I know. How do you feel about the price increase?
You know, the problem is, right, the way people talk about this price increase is that they try and rationalize it by saying it's the first one since God knows when, 2014, I think. The first price increase since then. And also they say it's following the cost of inflation or the percentage rise in inflation. My issue with both of those things are that the cost of tickets is already too high. Leicester game is on sale right now. A friend of mine bought tickets earlier and I asked him how much he paid for the tickets. £75 a ticket. The cost of tickets is too high already. So any price increase on a base that is already too high is unacceptable. We should be talking about price decreases to get tickets into the sort of region that football is actually all about and enables people to go. We shouldn't be pricing people out of going, and this only further does that. I have heard the argument as well that what they're kind of doing is making some tickets cheaper and some more expensive or whatever. And it's a case of, there's no need to fleece some to do the right thing for others. And off the back of a season where coronavirus has decimated revenues, like we spoke about earlier, some fans are even talking about that as a justifiable reason. Well, the same thing has happened to a lot of people like us, like people watching, that their finances have been decimated. There's a lot of people recovering from COVID, and this just puts pressure on them again. So I feel like it's an opportunity missed in a way for the club to do the right thing, whilst being absolutely realistic. I don't think they'll reduce ticket prices, because once you've done that once, people can ask for it again, and it can become quite difficult to kind of say, no, we're not going to do something that we've already done. You've almost kind of set a dangerous precedent in a way, so I can understand that, but at least keep them frozen. And also, the TV deals keep on increasing. I think there's an American TV deal that's giving clubs a lot more money as well. And we'll bounce back. We're one of the richest clubs in the world. We're one of the richest clubs in the country. I understand some other clubs needing to do that, but I'm disappointed that Arsenal have taken that.
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Arsenal is the most expensive ticket to watch in Europe. For some games it would cost you cheaper to actually get a day return flight to go, I don't know, to Munich to watch Bayern Munich and come back. I've had a couple of experiences in a club level that was just ridiculous. I remember booking dinner, a lunch in club level, which is just a buffet carver, nothing fancy or anything like that. And 2 sits halfway line for Man City game where we drew 0-0. And those two, I think, combined was it came to around 650. Right? And that's a lot of money, man. And, in club level, you go, they give you free like tea, coffee, wine, beer, and all that at half time. But if you buy burger and chips, it's about 15 quid.
But, the thing is, right, the club level prices are extortionate, but in a way, a lot of people are putting those on like company accounts and that sort of thing, where individuals.
I didn't. A lot of people wouldn't. Sorry,
it's a different world. Shaheen, look, let me be really, really blunt, right? Not a lot of people are going to have a lot of sympathy for someone who can afford to spend £650 on 2 tickets for a Category A game.
Get over it, Shaheen.
No, I didn't say that.
The real story here is that
I walked into that one, didn't I?
These are general ticket prices. So it's like, it's the people saving up to go to their treat games and stuff. It's like, that's what I feel sorry for. And I think it's a shame that the club have put that added pressure on fans.
I can guarantee you, Shaheen made the most of that buffet, though. It was free.
No, man, I didn't. Actually, there was not. Listen, the food was nice. But the food was nice, but it's nothing major, nothing that would have matched the price for it. Lev, what about you? What did you stand on the price increase?
Do you know what? Like, as Moen hit the nail on the head earlier, I think we've been charging too much for a while anyway. The only excuse I can give is we're getting our pants pulled down by our governments at the moment, and all the energy prices and all that. Everything's going up. It's going to cost everyone. Everyone's going to put their prices up. However, as Mo rightly said, I do think they're charging too much. And I think it was Nick Paris, I think it was, and pleasure to see you again, bro, who also mentioned, and rightly so, as a family man, forget about one ticket. As a father, you want to take 2-3 kids with you. Start racking up the cost then. It's become very, very difficult for families to go out as they would. It was used to be people used to go to football, take kids with them and all of that stuff. You had the juniors and I don't know. It's becoming less and less about real fans and more about people who can afford it. And that's the way the world's going, I think. But, what can I do about that? Nothing.
Okay. Tom, what about you? What's your thoughts on the price increase?
No, I think that it's really poorly timed. I understand why they've put it up, but I don't agree with it. I think when you look back at the fact of the Super League fiasco and like their whole rhetoric of trying to improve the relationship with the fans, and they're getting a fans forum and a fan advisory board, and they want to try and build bridges again. Like, is the money that you're going to get from the 4% increase really worth damaging that relationship even more? Because since the Super League fiasco, things have been pretty, amicable at the moment. Fans have started to appreciate the more communication from Josh in particular, and Josh turning up to these fan forums and them creating the fan advisory board. Like, people have started to appreciate more of what's been going on. But then you go and gain I think it's something like 2.5 million quid or somewhere between 2.5 and 3.75, I think, million pounds from this increase, which in the context of when the amount of money they're getting from TV revenues is increasing. We're going to be in Europe next season, most likely, so we're going to get more money from that. There's just a lack of foresight and a lack of hindsight in this actual scenario, in this decision. So it just doesn't make any sense.
Do you think they would have consulted with this fan forum about the price?
They would have told them. They wouldn't have consulted with them. As far as I'm aware, my understanding is that the fan groups were told that this was going to be happening at the fans forum. And
they were just told this is going to happen.
They were told. And obviously the AST, as far as I'm aware, did put forward their rebuttal to it and their frustration about it. But it's not going to change. And it kind of just highlights that it does make these meetings and these forums a little bit token in a way. In the big things that matter, it's great that we've got kind of input in which song plays after we win at the Emirates, and it's voted for by fans. So it's great that we might have a bit of a say in the banners that are put on the outside of the Emirates. So that's it's nothing, is it really? I mean, it's just one of those things that you do for a token. But when it comes down to the actual things that matters, like ticket prices, like our vision for the club and what we think should and should not be happening, and the club being held accountable for certain decision making, and them listening to us on certain things, and Josh Kroenke bothering to turn up for more than just one fans forum a year, which in any sense, when you do 3 and it's 6 hours out of your entire year and you can only turn up for one of them, I think that those are the things that really matter. And then when you've got a chance to, waive, say, 3 million-ish quid, which in the context of a football club like Arsenal is nothing, and you choose not to, and the damage that then causes, it just shows that there is still a long, long way to go before they get on the same level as us fans.
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons I agree with Mo on this. I don't think a price increase for tickets that are already too high, that's not justifiable. And what are you getting in return? 3-4 million, which in grand scheme of things for a club like Arsenal with the running costs that they have, 3-4 million is not a lot of. It's not a large amount of money that you would think, that's making a big difference to us. One of the reasons they come up with for the price increase on the ticket is that they're looking to do some upgrades and maintenance work at the Emirates. Do we need that more? You go there for all the home use. I mean, admittedly, I haven't been to the Emirates since.
We really, really
Corona.
do. Yeah.
The chairs are now pink, aren't they? The chairs.
There's a particular batch of seats in the North Bank that is under a leaky part of our roof, of our stadium roof. I've always thought to myself, those poor fans who are, it's one thing being in the rain, but it's another thing when that pools on top of the stadium and then drips down specifically on you. They should be getting a refund, as far as I'm concerned.
It depends who it is, Mo. We might not like them.
True. The stadium does need work. It does need a bit of a refresh. I don't know what it is in my mind, right? But the stadium still feels like our new stadium in a way to me. But we've been there a long time now. It does need a refurb.
Okay, fine. I mean, you go there more than probably most of us, so you can answer that better. let's talk about our next game. Actually, no, I want to talk about something else before we go into the Watford game. I want to end thing with that. Lev, do you think we didn't use Aubameyang well, and now he's smashing it in Barcelona, or do you think he wasn't putting
me all the
in
great
shift
questions, Shaheen, don't you?
that was required?
All right, okay.
He did not put in a shift at Arsenal, and now put in a shift in Barcelona, or our style of play and the issues we had stopped us getting the best out of him.
I don't think we were using Aubameyang correctly. I'll be honest with you. I don't think we were playing to his strengths. It's a mixture of the two, if you want my honest opinion. I don't think we were playing to his strengths. I think then he become a little bit disheartened by it all when you start missing chances or not getting enough chances, not getting the service. He missed a few, obviously, along the way. He lost confidence, and I think it was a culmination of the two aspects. Going to Barcelona, different type of league, not as physical. He's starting to show that he can finish when he's confident and back on song. Could we have still done with him on the bench with 25 minutes to go or something like that? Yes, I still believe so. But it's one of those now, and I keep seeing it coming back. And the same thing happened when we first let Martinez go to Villa. Every time he made a decent save and our keeper didn't do as well. Oh, look, we shouldn't have let him go. We need to get over the fact that he's gone now. It doesn't matter whether he's scoring for fun or not. I personally don't think he fitted in the way Arsenal needed to play or Arteta wanted to play. We could have changed our tactics to suit his to his strengths. And now that Odegaard's coming into his own, he may have been more successful. But look, it is what it is. Move on from it. You know, you can all sit there going, oh, look, he's scoring, whatever. But at the same time, flip side, we're still getting results. We're still challenging for top 4. And that's ever since we've dropped him. So, well, we can, stop moaning. I mean, we're doing well. I don't understand why we're moaning. We're in a really strong position for once. If we can get behind the team, yes, we've got 3 games in hand. 2 of those are very, very difficult games. So, it could all change still. But right now, the way I see it is, since we dropped him, we've gone up the table. He's happy doing what he's doing. We should just be happy with what we're doing and just get on with it. Move on, guys.
Okay. Mo, where do you stand on that?
I think the way where I stand on it is that people think that they're talking about the same person. The Aubameyang that was not playing for Arsenal versus the Aubameyang that is playing for Barcelona he's only the same person by name. He was not motivated at Arsenal. So this cycle has repeated itself with Aubameyang. When he was about to leave Dortmund, he was not the same Aubameyang that arrived in London. Certain people need that. They need that refresh and that sort of like new environment. And they perhaps it's down to his personality. Perhaps it was Mikel Arteta. Perhaps it was, I can't remember the guy's name at Dortmund, Michael Zorc or something like that he argued with. So I don't want to get into who's at fault here, but what I'm saying is that you cannot draw the comparison between what Aubameyang is doing at Barcelona and assume that he would have done that at Arsenal, because we saw what he was doing at Arsenal before he left. He was not doing what he's doing now. So all of the environmental factors and the mental factors that have led him to play as well as he has been for Barcelona and to get the goals weren't present at Arsenal, and therefore you can't make that direct, really lazy, really simple conclusion that what he's doing there, he could have been doing here right now. It just doesn't work like that. So ultimately, I know that would persist if Arsenal weren't doing well. But like Lever said, right now, we're one of the form teams in the league. We're doing really, really well. So why would we even want to suggest any change? Because the only impact a change could have is negative as far as I'm concerned. Fine, we might win 3-1 instead of 2-1, but we might also not have won the game at all. So why are we even talking about him when we're doing so well? Let's, as Lev says, just be happy for Aubameyang that he served the club well for the majority of his time. He has some fantastic moments here. Wish him well. We're no longer having him as a drain on our resources, and he's thriving. It's a win-win all round. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for Arsenal. Hopefully he scores goals. Arsenal finish top 4. We're all happy.
Okay. I know you had a bit of a battle with this Tom today on Twitter. You want to set some records?
Tom battles everyone. He was battling Gresham Gattuso from my comments the other day as well. I mean, I like to shout out to Gresham.
Top man.
Yeah.
I mean, I did a piece on this morning, and I tweeted it with obviously the caption kind of on the statistics. And with Aubameyang this season in the Premier League, we played 14 games and scored 18 goals. And then since he was dropped, starting from that game against Southampton, we've played 9 games and scored 20 goals. So it shows you the input of what's changed. And it's not, and to be fair, the reason why I got a lot of stickers, I think a lot of people misinterpreted that article as me kind of bashing Aubameyang, which wasn't what I was doing. It was highlighting how things change when you've got a number 9 that fits what you're trying to do. And fits what you're trying to play. Aubameyang suits the way that Xavi and that Barcelona team is trying to play. They create the perfect opportunities for Aubameyang to score. He's also replacing Luke de Jong in that side. So, I mean, getting a step up in performance from a player. And Luke de Jong, whilst has done a decent job, is not the type of striker that Xavi really wants in his forward line. Even Depay's kind of fallen off the ball a bit since a decent start to the season. But at Arsenal, we're not creating those types of chances that he would thrive off. And it's interesting to see now that we've got Lacazette starting up top, how many chances we're creating more frequently and how many goals we're scoring. What excites me is that Lacazette isn't that great of a finisher for Arsenal. He's not that prolific for us. And if we're creating this many chances with a striker of his ilk, imagine if we had a striker that's just as good at the link-up play, just as good at that fits our system, but is an even more clinical and prolific striker. It gives you that sense that there is a real potential and a level that we can go up, or more levels that we can go up, if we have the right striker. Aubameyang wasn't the right striker, and we've rightly moved on from him. And I don't think it's about Arteta not being able to get the best out of him. Arteta just doesn't want to play a system that is going to get the best from Aubameyang. It's nothing to do with the quality of coaching. It's to do with the type of system that Arteta's wanted to play. And he's not suited that. So we've moved on. Plus, obviously, all the social factors that go with it. But I think that's just a sidebar anyway.
Okay. And where would people be able to see this article?
On football.london, mate. You can see it on my Twitter. It's the pin tweet at Tom Canton Media if you want to go and read it. Thanks, mate.
Lovely. No props. So it's been a really positive, obviously, week for Arsenal. Should we briefly discuss the Carabao Cup final? You guys fancy it?
Yeah, man. Why not?
Yeah?
I think
since you're up for it, Mo, what was your thoughts? What do you think about this keeper substitution? Do you think that was a right decision, or would you have done it?
No, the thing is, with the whole keeper substitution, right? It's a really easy one for the manager to come across like a genius, because there's no real downside for keepers and penalty shootout. What happened in this one is it's poetic, because
ironic.
Let's face it, everyone hates Chelsea. No one wanted them to win. You look at Roman Abramovich and all of his dirty dealings. They're a filthy little club. Horrible, disgusting team with a complete non-history. Just awful. I mean,
thought we were talking about the Carabao Cup there.
Yeah, well, we're talking Chelsea, aren't we? It was lovely to see them lose. It's always lovely to see them lose. They're a horrible team. And it really hurts me to see someone as brilliant as N'Golo Kante, so likable, playing for a horrible, filthy little team like that. But the point is, anyway, when he sent Kepa on to be the hero in the penalty shootout, you can't write it any better than that. It cannot go more wrong than 10 opportunities to save a penalty. Not a single one saved. And then on top of that, doing all this stupid stuff like trying to test Van Dijk, mind games with one of the best defenders on the planet to put it the side that I'm standing on, and he goes and does it, and you still don't save it. And then the manner in which he saved the way he missed the penalty, absolutely brilliant. Liverpool fan took that ball home. Can you imagine how happy that Liverpool fan is to have that ball?
Well, did it end up in Liverpool?
But anyway, so I was absolutely delighted, and I think in reality, the entire footballing world was a little bit happy with Roman Abramovich. The statement that he released recently about handing the club to the trustees of Chelsea actually was despicable. The new information that's come out about that is awful, because at the time when I read that, I thought to myself, this is manipulative maneuvering. This is not a parting statement. Absolutely. There's no change of ownership. This is just positioning in a really sort of arrogant way where he thinks he's being clever because he knows he can get away with it. But also what I've read recently is that when it was transferred, nothing was signed, nothing was agreed, right? And the trustees only found out a few hours before the statement went out. So it's kind of just been chucked upon them, which is, would they really want to be associated with this decision and this maneuvering, this manipulation of?
Don't think they've got much choice, Mo.
Well, it's wrong to put people in that position. The sort of guy that Roman Abramovich is. Let's not forget, he's been denied a visa to live in the UK. He's obviously a problematic individual with his links and dirty money and stuff. So lovely to see Chelsea lose. I think we all took a lot of satisfaction in that.
Thanks for sharing.
Ev's getting into some ASMR there.
Right, there's a super chat from Mo. Odegaard's 4 goals in the league, same as Isaac. Yes, that's true. Definitely not worth 70 million.
And listen, Isaac has never played for Arsenal. Aubameyang has. Isaac's never won an FA Cup for Arsenal. Aubameyang has. I want Aubameyang to do well. I like the guy.
There was a time, Mo, that Aubameyang single-handedly was dragging Arsenal into Europa League for 2 seasons in a row with the goals that he was scoring. What's your thoughts on the Europa Cup? Not Europa Cup, Carabao Cup, Lev. Are you in?
Well, I feel like
you
I
in the
need
same
to
boat as
shower.
Mo,
I talk of dirty and filthy and this and I don't know what to do with myself. But look, I think it was really ironic because he took, as Mo said, the best part of it for me was, firstly, as a goalkeeper in Mendy, I would have been extremely disappointed if I was taken off at a crucial point where it's penalties. You're thinking, I'm the goalie, and you're taking me off to put someone else on. He then doesn't save any penalty, like Mo has said. But then the worst thing is, had Mendy been on, that penalty probably would have been a lot better because he's better on the ball with his feet. So he's taken off Mendy because he's a better penalty taker and then ended up losing it because Kepa's terrible with his feet. So that's the ironic thing for me. But yeah, I was happy that they lost, to be honest with you. I didn't like what he did with passing over the company to trustees, but I just don't like Chelsea in general. I don't like Liverpool either, but I don't like Chelsea more. So
okay, there's a couple of things I don't know if you guys picked up on as well. I watched the game and I felt there was a lot more Liverpool supporters in the stadium than Chelsea supporters. Did you guys felt the same as well or not?
I didn't really think about it.
I didn't pick up on it. No, I didn't.
I thought because I could hear them chanting a lot more than the Chelsea supporters, and there was quite a few empty seats around. Tom, what about you? What was your thoughts on the game? It was an interesting game.
It was a good game. One of the best 0-0s you'll see, that's for sure. But yeah, I enjoyed the game, but I was very happy with the result. I can't stand Chelsea. They're a horrible club. I can't really go into the superlatives that Mo used as impressive.
Are they filthy, Tom? Are they dirty?
Filthy and dirty.
Filthy and dirty, Tom. Is that what they are?
And chubby. You can't forget chubby.
Hey, look, I come from where the word chav was invented here in Medway, so I can't, look at me.
Right, well, we're all happy that obviously Liverpool won. If you had to choose one, you would choose.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you don't want Chelsea winning titles. I mean, it was just great. See, it's just the irony of them bringing on a goalkeeper, doesn't save any penalties, and then misses the penalty to
he obviously Tom must have thought that Kepa is a better penalty stopper than
notoriously he is quite good at stopping penalties, but it wasn't evident based on that, was it? I mean,
Liverpool done their homework well.
To be honest, there were some really good penalties and there were some not so good. And I mean, I think it was the one that was it that Kelleher took. He definitely should have got a hand to. But I just think that it's just one of those games where you think anything's going to happen and it's probably going to fall the way of the better side, and that better side was just Liverpool. And that's just like a really Michael Owen level bit of analysis, isn't it? But it's one of those games where at 0-0. and we saw it with the one last year with Manchester City. Then they won just the 1-0 game because it's just a war of attrition, and eventually, usually in those scenarios, that the better team just comes out. And notoriously, Liverpool have been far better than Chelsea in the last few years, and that was the way they went. And I thought they deserved to win, to be honest, on the day as well.
Did you? I thought Chelsea deserved it, didn't you? I mean, they had three.
I really thought they
chances.
Well, Chelsea started well, but obviously Liverpool
one of the offsides was harsh.
We've got Watford away next. Lev,
Yes.
Watford got a draw at Old Trafford.
Mm-hmm.
That's an impressive result for a team
It
like
is.
Watford.
It
For a
is.
team like Watford, is that a potential banana skin for us?
I don't think so, because if you watch the game, really,
Are you really confident of a 3-point?
Yes, I am, Shaheen. I'm really confident, and I'll tell you why. Right, if you watch the game,
Right.
even though Man United didn't win the game, they had plenty of chances to win the game. And this is it's making me more and more confident watching the likes of Chelsea and now Man United. I mean, Chelsea don't look like they can hit a barn door like from 2 yards out, and they've spent how much money on Lukaku second time around. So these are guys we're going to be playing, and I fancy our chances against those two. So Watford, I'm not worried about Watford. No, I think we'll beat them. I think we'll get our chances, and I think the form that we're in right now, I think we'll prove too much for them. So yeah, I'm confident. We'll leave the result for when you.
Yeah, well, obviously we'll come to it at the end. Mo, what about you?
I'm nervous because they are I'd much rather at this stage of the season, and this only amps up, much rather be playing teams that are sort of mid-table, like a Southampton or a Brighton, because Watford are going to be absolutely fighting. Every single week in the top 4 race that we're so involved in, we're kind of seeing certain teams drop points and how important it is. That is amplified significantly for those at the bottom of the table. And with Watford picking up that draw at Old Trafford, they wouldn't have expected that draw or that point. So I think they'll be kind of buzzing. They'll be fighting for their lives. So I do think we'll win, but I think it will be one of those really, really difficult, scrappy, hard-fought games. And I guess I don't possess the absolute abundant confidence that Lev is exuding on this one. So I still think we'll get the 3 points.
Okay.
Mo, do you not think that maybe them? Well, do you not think that them getting that result at Old Trafford, in a way, will make us a little bit more wary? In a sense, we might have taken the game too easy, but now we know that they can get a result. We turn up. Tom, I was just thinking that might be happening.
No, I mean, I don't think. I think I honestly think that Arsenal are in the right place mentally from what I've seen of them. I remember against the Brentford game, from the first whistle, we started off really, really well. Like we weren't wasting time. I feel like Arteta has got them in that place where there's everything to play for, and the players really realise that. And on top of that, bad start against Wolves, but look at the belief, the determination. I don't think we would have taken it lightly. I really, truly do get the impression that the team are playing each game as sort of like that whole cup final mentality, because there's so much riding in the season. So,
Tom, where did you stand on the Watford game?
Yeah, look, I think Man United absolutely battered them, to be honest. And they're a side that sides such as Arsenal should be battering to us. We should be making plenty of chances. Always with Arsenal, it's going to be about their capacity to actually finish off those chances. Like we know that we're going to create plenty. It's just whether or not on the day we're clinical enough. Thankfully, we were by the end of the Wolves game in a match that it did throw up a few chances for us that were really good. Lacazette had that one that Sarr saved really well at his near post. But beyond that, it wasn't massive chances that we were missing. I like the fact that Pepe's got kind of a question mark over his head about what he can do in this game. That he'd be up against a camera at left back, obviously took over the role from Danny Rose, who we had an absolute whale of a time against at the Emirates earlier in the season. He's now gone. Yeah. But camera is still not of the level that you would think that either Saka or Pepe, whoever starts. And I think it will probably be Saka, even though there's an argument that Pepe deserves to come in for this game after his performance.
Yeah, I don't see that happening, mate.
No, I don't see it happening either. I hope that Emile Smith-Rowe's back, because I think for us, he is our most clinical, our biggest goal threat right now. And I would start him over Gabriel Martinelli. And I think that he proved that against Brentford, that he is a more valuable goal scorer, a more consistent goal scorer, and that you can rely on him to be a difference maker. I also think that he works a lot better with Kieran Tierney behind him. And I think Tierney's kind of suffered without Smith-Rowe being there. So I'm hoping that Smith-Rowe's back. It hasn't been absolutely confirmed that he did test positive or not. I heard a rumor that we knew he's ill, but it was the club said it wasn't initially that, or that he hadn't tested positive at that point. There's been a couple of rumors going around that it is now that. If it is that, he could still be available for the game because we had a big gap between the two fixtures, but it's going to be touch and go. I hope he's back. Tomiyasu coming back would be big as well, but obviously we're waiting to find out about, because unfortunately, it was a brand new injury rather than reoccurring of the same one. It was the other calf muscle that he injured, which I interviewed Dr. Rajbal Bra. You probably follow him on Twitter at 3C Performance. He does a lot of stuff about physiotherapy, and he basically talked about how when you injure one calf, the likelihood is that the other one they'll be much more susceptible because you've been obviously putting all your weight on that one. So it could be a similar time frame that he's out, which would be a real frustration. But there's a chance that he could be back, so we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, we should be beating Watford comfortably, Shaheen. And I'm sure you're going to go for a 4-0 prediction, Shaheen, obviously, as well. I'm waiting for that.
Listen,
I'm going to come to that, but
can I just say, right? Obviously, we are going to talk about Arsenal-Watford, but actually, this weekend is huge for that top 4 race. Because when you look at the fixtures, you've got Man United away at Man City on the Sunday. Yeah. You've then got Chelsea away at Burnley on the Saturday, same time as us. No, wait, when do we play? No, we're on the Sunday, sorry. We're 2 p.m. on the Sunday. So on the Saturday, 3 p.m., it's Chelsea away at Burnley. Now, Watford and Burnley, everything I was saying about Arsenal playing Watford away and they'll be fighting, it's even more true of Burnley because they've got an even better chance with games in hand and above Watford in the table of survival, and they're on decent form, actually. So they'll be absolutely fighting to the death, and that'll be a tough game for Chelsea, especially after the rigors of extra time and penalties in the cup final. So Chelsea could well drop points. You've then got West Ham away at Liverpool. They could well drop points as well. It's very, very interesting. And Tottenham at home to Everton on the Monday. All of these games, I'm just thinking, could be quite good. What's up, Shane?
Lev has just killed me, man.
What's Lev done? What have I missed?
Anyway, let's move on.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Anyway, massive match day or weekend in terms of that top 4 race. And looking at the fixtures, I think Arsenal could be in a very good position at the end of it.
I'll tell you what it is he's laughing at, right? While I'm sitting here, I tell my kids, every Monday, we've got podcasts at 8 o'clock, So I'm sitting there, someone's knocking on my door. So to try and shoot them away, I throw something at my door like that to try to just go away. I'm on the pod, and it stopped. And Shaheen spotted it. And you two did. Yeah. So there you go. So for you to wind back up.
It just shows while we're talking.
Harvey says knock. He saw it.
While we're talking, Shaheen's just watching you, Lev. That's all.
You even managed to get a super chat out of Wayne for that.
Bit of
Wayne. Answer the door, Lev.
Jesus. Go away.
Do you know what? Let's talk about predictions. If you guys on the chat, why don't you tell us? On the chat, guys, why don't you tell us your predictions? And if you're watching this on the replay, please comment your predicted lineup and prediction for the Watford game. Mo, you taking note on this?
Yeah.
All right, Lev.
God, you're so vigilant about him taking notes because you're winning. Let's see
if
you like this.
What are we supposed to do? We're supposed to just talk about it and just whatever. Yeah. We do things properly, Lev.
I'm gonna go 2-0 Arsenal. There you go.
Mo?
Yeah, that's my prediction as well. 2-0 Arsenal.
Oh, Tom? No. I can't go with the same. I need to catch up. I'll go 3-0 then.
You go 3-0.
Well, I hope it does. I hope you win, Tom. I really do.
Yeah.
It's more about Arsenal than it is about us, Shaheen.
To be fair, Shaheen, remember when we said in I think it was one of the comments on the last show, saying you're never going to score against Wolves. They got the best defense in Europe, and 2 goals later.
Look, I was actually going to go for 2-0 as well, but I will go for 2-1. This 2-1 has been good to me. Then I'll go for 2-1. 2-1
Found the
Arsenal.
meta.
So 2-0, 2-0. 2. So obviously all of us think we're going to win.
But Tom, you're going 2-0, was it?
3-0.
2-1.
Or 3-0?
No, he's changed it to 3-0, yeah, because we got 2-0 each.
I think that what we should do is the loser of the three of us at the end of the season pays for a meal for all four of us.
Where?
Cool.
The winner
If
decides
Lev loses,
where.
we're all going for a doner kebab, mate, in Edmonton.
If Shaheen loses, we go to the Ned.
You see
No,
that?
listen, we don't, what you need to worry about is that if Shaheen wins, that's
He
what we need
picks.
to worry about. Because he'll be going, oh yeah, I want to go to the Arsenal halfway line, see the restaurant.
The club level.
No.
Diamond Club. Diamond Club is
I'm
what
a
it is.
humble guy. I'm a humble human being, Mo. You know me. You will be
until
none of
you
my
see
ass.
food.
Afternoon
I'm
tea
very
at the
cool, I'm
Ritz.
very
What
cool.
we're going to do.
But if Lev loses, he already owes me 20 quid, by the way.
Again.
But
you know how many games there is? There's still about 15,
if
16
you
games
lose,
to go.
we're going somewhere proper.
Listen,
No,
look,
so if I lose, we're going somewhere shit.
Lose,
Is that what you're
if
saying?
Lev lose, we go to Oblix in Shard.
listen,
So
I'm saying this. I'm
I've been
saying
there,
this
it's
not
good.
to be a cheapskate because I'm doing all right now, but I'm saying it to be fair.
Paul James in the chat. Nando's. Love that.
There's nothing wrong with
I think what we should do is cap the losers' spend. So let's say
Yeah.
when the bill arrives, they pay the first
£150, right? So it's what? £50 ahead, £200. Is that?
Yeah,
that's
that's
all right,
fine.
Mate,
That's-
£50
that's
a
fine.
head in the doner kebab place. We could eat everything you need. Everything. You could
Well,
just
listen,
get the chicken
Mo.
wings,
Oh, you know what,
nuggets,
Mo? You know what? I'll tell you what.
gherkin.
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna ask everybody in the chat. Do you think £50 a head is too much for the loser to take all four of us out for a drink? If you're watching it on the replay, please comment
drink,
for us.
just a
You would
drink.
help a
Oh, do you know
lot.
what? I'll
We
do
are
it. I'll
going to
stick
a
it on
Blitz,
my-
clearly.
I'll stick it on my Instagram as well. We'll find out what the audience think. How much
Yeah.
this person should have to fork out.
Exactly. For a competition like this, that
I still don't like the.
so basically,
we
just
think it's
left.
going to be.
We're
me.
all
Why?
thinking of you, my friend, because it's very
Why are you
likely that
thinking
you
of me?
lose out of this.
Why? Why is it likely that
I don't know, man. It's just likely.
It's likely, yeah. Remember these
Yeah,
words,
look,
Shaheen.
someone
yeah?
said the
Because
Ritz.
The Ritz.
Oh,
Shaheen thinks that's a box of cheese.
I've got a funny
biscuits.
story about the Ritz. If you want to hear a funny story about the Ritz.
No,
So-
can we just move on?
Go on, you little
No.
fancy man.
It's all right, Tom. Go on.
So it was like we went out in the Ritz for it was like an anniversary thing, and we go into we have all the afternoon tea and stuff, and we go into the cocktail bar next to it. And when we go into this cocktail bar, we sit down, and this like menu of cocktails is ridiculous. I've hardly heard of any of the ingredients that are going into these things. And obviously the waiter comes over, he's like white suit, proper dapper and stuff. And me coming from
I've been
Chavy
there, yeah.
Medway, don't really
And a
speak the
Burberry
lingo,
baseball
to be
cap
honest. So he's putting the cocktail down. I'm going like, cheers, fella, I appreciate that. And this cocktail comes with like this little spoon, and it's got like this thing. I don't know what it is, but there's something on the end of this spoon, and it's meant to like sit in the cocktail and like infuse with it. But I see a spoon with some stuff on, and I'm like, oh, that must be like a little side dish. So like, I'm picking up the spoon and like licking this spoon with the stuff on, and the waiter has to come over and he's like, no, sir, like not this.
Did you
Yeah,
also try and eat
Come on,
the
some weird stuff, man.
eat the hot towels at the end as well, or not?
I have a friend who has tried to do that. The first
So
time I went out.
look, a lot of people are cool with this. £50.
Because a lot
per
of
head.
people ain't paying for it. That's why they're cool with it.
Lev is panicking here, you know. A
I'm
lot of
not
people don't
panicking.
pay for it.
I'm not panicking,
No.
Shaheen.
This is happening.
I'm not panicking because I think
I think that's a good idea, though. I think
I
loser
think as well.
pays, winner picks where we go. I think that's good.
I think
But
it
you
ends up
see,
being
with-
Shaheen. I'm just saying.
With the winner picks where you go, that's the thing. Like, we know we're not going to be nice to each other. Whoever
Nah.
wins is going to just be
We'll
like,
put a cap.
most
There'll be a
expensive restaurant
cap.
in London.
Do we
Yeah,
film
there'll
it?
be
Do
a
we
cap.
film it and then show it as well?
We'll do a podcast at the place.
Yeah.
a live lounge.
Microphone live from the Ritz.
Well,
Tom's still eating from a little spoon from a cocktail glass.
So basically, so we're saying £50. Is that agreed then? So the losers, shall they
£50 per head. £50
Yeah,
per head.
£200 loss.
Yeah, that's all right.
I think that's fair.
Jeez.
That's fair. So that is solved as well. Thank you very much to everybody in the chat as well who've been with us. Flo, my friend, you've just joined after an hour of conversation. If you look back on the show, you will see that we have discussed this to a very, very deep extent. Thank you very much for people in the chat. Please comment for us. Let us know if £50 per head is acceptable. If you have any suggestions, that Lev will be all right to take us there for £50 per head. Please write a comment for us. The restaurants that you know or anything like that. That would be much. I'm sure Lev would appreciate that.
Lev's going to make a fake account and start commenting like, I think it's ridiculous to make.
No. Please hit the like, obviously, on the video. If you're watching on Mo's channel, hit the like, and obviously, if you're watching Arsenal Lounge, hit the like button. Subscribe to Mo Haider's channel. Subscribe to Arsenal Lounge. Subscribe to the Gooner Talk TV. Final thoughts, Tom?
Yeah, lovely stuff. Always a pleasure joining you, boys. I'm looking forward to not paying for a meal a little bit later on at the end of the season. It's going to be great. Thank you, Lev. Much appreciate that.
No worries, mate. See you there. See you there.
And yeah, no, I look forward to the Watford game. It's annoying we're having to wait. I mean, if anything, if we ever need like an incentive to get into Europe, it's so we don't have to wait so bloody long for every game to come around, because we do need these midweek fixtures back. That's for sure. Pleasure as always, though, Shane and boys.
Lovely having you on, Mr. Haider.
Yeah, all I'd say is again, thank you, Lev. Really appreciate your generosity and looking forward to the meal.
See you there,
in case you know you'd forgotten, Chelsea really are truly a filthy, dirty, horrible, chavvy, scummy little club.
Thank you for that.
It's not that I live in the area or anything, but you just carry on.
Yeah, Lev. Final thoughts?
Yes. Final thoughts. Couple of things. Firstly, big thank you to the loungers. Love you guys. I love all the toing and throwing in the chats. Put the comments in after the show. We do read them, as you know. I'm looking forward to see what Graham Gattuso is going to come up with next. Also, on a side note, I think Catterall was absolutely robbed in the boxing against Doherty the other day. It was disgusting. I hope he gets a rematch, because he absolutely trounced Doherty there. And finally, what else is left? No, that's it, man. Come on, you Arsenal this weekend, and look forward to eating dinner with you guys at apparently my expense.
Well, guys, for me as well, thank you very much for giving us your time. Please hit the like, subscribe, and we all obviously laugh and joke and banter with us, and we'll see at the end of the season who gets what results, right or wrong. But please comment for us. Tell us your thoughts. We read comments and we respond to them most of the time. I know Tom does as well. And again, thank you for being here on a Monday night. Look after yourselves, and hopefully maybe Lev will do something midweek, and we'll see you midweek again.
Oh,
if not,
I love that. Yeah.
And we'll see you guys again next week, Monday. Thank you very much again, and have a wonderful evening.